Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast. All the stuff we did not get to during the course of the show today. It's hard to even look at Betty Rock. She is just...
I'm a drowned rat.
A drowned rat. We played a game. We have Katie Miller with us. She is part of the family from Sight and Sound Studios that does epic biblical Broadway-style shows in Lancaster and in Branson, Missouri. And I had seen Daniel there. It was amazing. You went and saw David.
And it was awesome.
Yeah. It's beyond impressive. And I'm a Broadway guy. I mean, I have seen the Phantom of the Opera in New York, and I got to tell you, I like Daniel better. Phantom of the Opera, it's weird, man. It's just weird. So we had Katie in.
Why I'm
yeah,
what?
I'm getting to that. Yeah, I did a whole big setup there. But we had Katie in because they're revising their play or their show, Noah. And so in honor of that, we had Katie ask us Noah questions, and Betty and Rock and I, each time one of us got a question wrong, the other got to spray him in the face with flood water. And it divulged into just complete chaos.
We put the ark in anarchy.
Hey!
Look, there's your title.
Yeah, we really did. But I will say, because Katie was in close proximity, we didn't get you wet at all, did we?
No, it was actually very impressive. I was fully prepared.
Yeah, we are wet.
So the accidents and the lack of aim.
Yeah.
I don't feel like holds true.
Yeah.
Because you did avoid me.
Yeah,
and we were at one table.
That's true. Yeah.
That's
so all the
true.
times he was like, "Oops, that was an accident." Betty, I think you get absolutely not.
Yeah. At one
for
point,
sure.
Yeah.
Betty was just so not wanting to get sprayed. She had her head down. Her arm was trying to spray me. She's shooting a wall, just like squeezing the trigger multiple
I'm not
times.
looking, yeah.
And I'm just dead in on her because there's nothing hitting me. So that's why you got drenched.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
So funny.
But
yeah.
I appreciate you being willing to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But I do also like the fact that we are promoting Sight and Sound.
Yes.
Just because when I went to Missouri, was that 2 months ago, maybe?
Yep.
That was the first time I'd ever seen a Sight and Sound show. And I didn't really know what to expect. The closest thing I ever saw was Aladdin on Broadway.
Oh, well, that's a good one, though.
Yeah,
That's a
Joy
great
and I
one.
went. We got nosebleed section seats. We didn't have that at Sight and Sound. It was amazing. But I do remember when we went, I thought to myself, they said they were showing us all the animals that were going to be in David, and they showed us a horse, and they showed us sheep. And I was raised with sheep. I know that all they do is eat and poop. That's it.
That's it.
And so
Did you say raised with sheep or by sheep? Sorry.
Anyway, my biggest question was, because they go through this whole ordeal. They're like, and this is how we do this and this. And they're like, does anyone have any questions? And I'm like, yeah, what do you do with the poop? Like, y'all have people that's their job. They
We
come
sure
and
do.
and they rake it all.
They do.
You
Very
hiring?
quickly.
might
Is that
be
a volunteer?
Yeah, I feel like that's what I do every day with this show. I'm just cleaning up somebody's mess, sometimes my own.
No, we have a fantastic team of people, and the animals, everyone's they always ask, do things go wrong with the animals? Do things go wrong with the animals?
Sure.
The reality is, those animals are so well trained. They are what we call target trained, so they can run to where the food is. And once they know where the food is,
That's Betty. We just didn't know it was called target training.
It's called target training.
For her, it's Chick-fil-A training.
That's so true.
But they really do. They do their pattern every single show. They're the thing that's least likely to go wrong in the show, which is great.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you
They're
ever had a
awesome.
mishap happen with the animals?
Yeah, we have. It's honestly
Like a
mostly the
stampede?
birds. Oh, no, nothing ever
Oh.
like that. It's usually a bird that doesn't go where it's supposed to go and sort of flies around. Well, actually, my favorite story was my kids. We used to be in shows. They're a little too old for the kid roles now, but they were in a show we had called Jonah, and this pigeon did not go to its place and was flying all over the stage and landed on the floor. And the cast was about to do this whole big production dance number and didn't want to hurt the pigeon.
Right.
And so one of her cast members reached down, scooped up the bird, and held it like a baby for his entire dance number.
Oh, nice.
And then carried it off stage and gave it to an animal trainer.
That's hilarious.
That's a good cast member.
Yeah,
they
he was
just
great.
roll with it.
They
That
just
is
roll
good.
with it, yeah.
Well, how many different big Bible production stories have you guys done so far? Because we talked about
Oh, that's a good
Daniel
question.
and Jonah and Noah now.
And we've done, so what did you say? Daniel, Noah, Jonah, Queen Esther,
Yeah.
Jesus, David.
Okay.
What am I missing? Joseph.
That's a good one.
And then, so those are the ones, that's 7 in the last 15 years.
Okay.
Way back in the day, we did Ruth. We did.
Oh, really?
We did one on Adam and Eve, creation.
Oh, wow.
But those are the ones like in the last 15 years that would be more of like our current style of show.
Yeah, that one got shut down because the clothing. Yeah, like
The lack of.
It was not as family friendly.
a little risque back then. So
Speaking of not family friendly, when I was on the red carpet at Sight and Sound, I asked Katie, I said, hey, is there any chance that y'all would be up for trying to do a show about Elijah and the bears?
Oh, yes.
Can you imagine if he calls on the bears? Okay,
the mauling.
We have real actual.
She has
grizzly
really
bears.
great ideas, and I told her we will call her. She doesn't have to call us.
Hear me out. 2 grizzly bears come out. Okay, one on the left, one on
Live.
stage right. Okay,
Love it.
And then these little kids, these little boys, teenage kids,
Like the annoying ones.
mobbed.
Yes,
Okay.
mauled.
That's what, by the bears.
Yeah.
Okay. And then people get splattered
Yeah.
with like red paint.
You
I
really
love where
are
you're
into
going.
these 4D experiences.
Yeah.
Really
I really love where you're going with this, right?
realistic. That's what I'm going for.
We actually had Aaron Schust on one time, and I said, everybody writes songs out of Psalms and Proverbs, and just the really our God's an awesome God, easy stuff, easy.
Right.
What is a tough song to write? A Christian song about? And so I said, how about the mauling of the 42 with Elijah? He did it. He crushed it.
Killed it.
Yeah, he
No pun intended.
on the spot made up this song to the point where years later he's checking in for a flight or something, and the guy goes, "Hey, are you that Christian singer like Aaron Schust?" And he goes, "Yeah, like the My God is my Savior, my God." He goes, "No, the Bear song." Like that's what
That's what he's known for now.
Yeah, the Bear song. It's like, so Betty's onto something here.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
this
telling
could be. You mentioned Jesus. What part of the Jesus story did you do? Did you guys tackle death, resurrection stuff too? Okay, so you did.
Yeah, we did. And it was one of those things. So our chief story officer was our show producer for Jesus. And when that was the show we were going to walk towards, he says he was so overwhelmed at the beginning because you look at 4 Gospels and how do you pick and choose? And so he spent an extended period of time in prayer and just sort of reading through the Gospels. And he kind of came to this like feeling of this really is the greatest rescue story of all time. Like that is what Jesus is, and that's the message we felt really called to tell with the story. And so as he walked through the Gospels, then as he was pulling which parts we're going to show, that became the overarching theme, is this idea of rescue. And so you see Jesus kind of, and it helped actually clarify, like if it wasn't a parable or it wasn't a miracle that was kind of pointing in that direction, it was an easier one to kind of like put aside for our show.
Well, when I went and saw David, I found out that there are actually 4 different guys that play David.
Yes.
And so they take turns. And did y'all have that with Jesus? Like you
We
had 4
did.
different Jesuses?
We did, yeah, because we do 11 shows a week.
Wow.
So from the time we open till the time we close this year, both locations will do about 425 shows.
That's a lot.
And it's a lot, especially for any of our lead characters. It's so much singing. It's a 300-foot wraparound stage. Like, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And so to protect their vocal cords, to give their bodies a rest, the lead will typically do like 6 shows a week, and then the others will jump in and do other ones. And they all have roles that they're in when they're not playing Jesus.
Oh, okay.
They are then filling in for like guard number 12,
Hey,
or whatever.
hey, yeah, I'm Gus, sound mixer
geez.
number 1, and I can only imagine 2.
There you
I
go.
mean, I've got a resume
You
now,
have to,
and
yeah.
so like I don't necessarily need a singing
Right.
part, but I need to. I've already conquered film and radio. I need to conquer stage.
Listen, I can arrange that.
Yes, I love this because I'm not going to get an EGOT at this way.
If you come,
Yes.
I will find a way to put you in a scene.
Betty is gonna hate this, but
you know what
Sorry,
I'm gonna
everyone,
do?
I just committed to something.
Exactly.
Yep.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this audio and I'm going to play it for you on my phone as you're crying on stage left because Wally has ruined everything.
When you regret it.
The curtains come down and they're on a full-blown fire because somehow he accidentally caught the theater on fire.
No,
I don't know.
we
And I'll say,
have-
I told you so.
We have obscure places
Yeah.
on the stage.
yeah. Well, we don't want to do that. We need it front and center.
He's tree number 3.
No, we need something that's worthy of my talent. Because trust me, the I Can Only Imagine people have figured out I'm so arrogant that I will talk about it and I will overinflate my position in said film, and they benefit from that. So it would be a good thing to have me in there somewhere and a little prevalent. Not a tree, but something.
Not a tree.
Yeah.
We don't have cast people being trees.
Great.
So,
Okay.
What if you could be a sheep? You could be a sheep with the real sheep.
I don't want to be a sheep. I
feel like the real sheep will be a better job being the real sheep.
Yeah.
So,
Because I would try to upstage him and poop more on the floor.
we do have people though, like when they poop on the actual stage.
Yeah.
Our deck technicians have costumes hanging backstage that
So
they'll
great.
throw on and walk out. So you could do that too.
I do
As a part
love
of your
that.
sight and sound experience.
You could be the poop picker upper.
Okay. You know what? There's no small roles, just small actors. So there are so many Bible stories. What are some of the criteria that you guys decide on to pick ones to tell? Because I mean, you have to keep going. You can revise certain shows like Noah, and you're bringing it back. And I'm so glad because when I saw all the sets in Lancaster, I was like, I want to see that show, and I'm so glad that I'll get to see it now.
Yeah.
But like, what is the criteria for picking a show, a story out of the Bible? Like, what does it have to have in it to be worthy?
Well, so far, we haven't run out of stories that are well known.
Right.
So someday, our counting team has been asking for like a decade that we do Numbers the musical. And we have yet to want to do that one. But truthfully, like we do want to choose stories that people are familiar with, that it's a way for them to experience these stories that they've had their whole lives, that they've read, that they, we all had the storybooks as kids and Veggie Tales and everything else. So it's a different way to experience the stories that we all know and love. So that is one of the first criteria. But then actually the second criteria really is like a lot of prayer and diving into what message does the Lord have for us to tell right now. So going back to the Jesus thing, like we really felt called to the story of the greatest rescue of all time. For Noah, when it first premiered, it really was a story of salvation, which it still is.
Right.
But when we were bringing it back now, 30 years later, the story team kind of just sat with it for a little bit, and they came back and they said, I think the story of salvation is there. You can't tell the story of the ark and not talk about, Christ's salvation.
Right.
But in addition to that, Noah was 600 years old when it actually flooded.
That's crazy.
Experts, we just talked about this earlier, believed that it took 75 to 100 years to actually build the ark.
Ooh.
And so they really felt like there was this message of how are we faithful in a faithless world, and how are we faithful when it gets really hard, or when it gets mundane, or when it gets tiring. 100 years or even 75 years to build an ark when you only, as far as we know, heard from God once.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would have
God
kept
spoke
asking.
Right. That's what we all said. We kind of gloss over those things,
Yeah.
but God talked to him one time, and it took him, he stayed dedicated for 75 to 100 years.
Wow.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, I want to
just
finish my
absolutely
projects
blows
in
my
a
mind.
weekend.
Right.
Like
If
I don't.
that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll rush through. I'll cut corners. And he didn't cut corners, and he got it done. I never knew that it was 75 years. I never knew that. So we're learning stuff today, which I love.
So all that to say, the story of how do we stay faithful in a faithless world is this message that kind of rose to the top. And that was part of the decision making of, okay, Lord, you want us to tell this story, and this is how you want us to tell this story. And that's what we get to focus on.
Well, let me ask you this, though, too. The story of Jesus, you have a lot of, in essence, dialogue from him, because he's telling parables, and people are telling stories about him, and there's more to work with than dialogue from, say, Noah, for example. So this is where the art and the creativity comes in, because you guys have to fill dialogue for 2.5 hours of what they might have said. The Chosen's run into this too. The Chosen gives backstories, and they do such a great job. Do you guys go through a similar process of how do we say what we think they should be saying, and then what do we leave out? How do we do what's your process in that?
Yeah, and especially for a show like Noah. So for a story, we used to joke, a story like Daniel kind of writes itself because it's so descriptive and you have so many things. But for a story like Noah, it's really God told Noah to build an ark, and then 100 years later there's an ark, and that's all you got. There's not much in between. It's 2 verses.
He hits his thumb with a hammer and swears. That's not in there.
It's not. It's shockingly not in there. And so in our show, most of Act 1 is actually a lot of what we like to say a creative portrayal of the story. And so all of Act 1 is the building of the ark. And so you see how Noah and his family were living. And another thing that astounded me, even as a kid when the show first premiered, Noah knew everyone who didn't get on the ark. It was his neighbors, it was his family. And so you start to develop these emotional connections to his brothers, to his neighbors. you get to know all of these people, and then you're going, oh, I know how this ends. Like, during Act 1, you're like, wait a second, like they don't all get on the ark.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there is, while this show is so fun and full of animals and laughter, and it like really is a lot of fun, there's some like deep and heavy content too of just like this recognition that the gravity of the world that we live in, right? And that today it's no different. There's our neighbors, the people around us are as need as much of God's love as what they were then.
We're their ark, in essence.
Right. That's literally
yeah.
the message. Like we get to, and we show Noah doing that, like compelling people. And then we watch his heartbrokenness when they don't. And it's just, he becomes like a picture of God's love for us. And it is just this really beautiful story all the way through.
Yeah, that had to be like a yay awe for him. Like, hey, first of all, yay, I did hear God right, and I'm right, because everyone loves to be right.
Everybody.
But then when you're watching your friends and neighbors beg to be on the boat and
After
they're
the door
drowning
closed,
when the door closes, then you've got to have this immense sense of guilt, or like, God, why can't we could we pull a couple people up here?
Right.
And so like, because I would ruin the whole thing, because I'd be like, I'd take over and I'd be like, all right, God, I know you said this, I'm gonna throw a line down, and stuff. And so, but he didn't, and he stayed faithful to his promise, which is it's crazy. So I love that you guys tackle all that kind of stuff in there. And like you mentioned, there's hard stuff in a lot of these stories. The Bible, there's a lot of R-rated stuff in the Bible. Like David, did you guys, Betty Rock, did they touch on Bathsheba and David?
Sure did.
Yeah.
She
How was that
there.
for you? Was it awkward?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. They made it family friendly.
Okay, so it's not like watching a movie with your parents. You're like, oh no.
Oh, no. But I will say, too, that I was surprised at how funny it could be. Like, y'all are really good with the wit of bringing some comedy into it, where I found myself actually laughing. Not when people die or when David sins or
No,
whatever.
she's kinda
But you know-
dark.
you know what I'm
Appropriate
saying.
laughter.
Yeah.
She's
At
dark.
appropriate time. You get it.
Yeah, so you got to tell some of the darker parts or the harder parts sensitively,
Yeah.
because you got families that are going.
Right. And we want, like, the thing is, we want to give families tools to be able to talk to their kids about the hard parts, right?
Right.
Like, I think it's a challenging thing to walk towards. So my brother is one of our show producers, and he produced David, and it was his first show that he was lead producer on. And I was like, oh my gosh, David, it's so fun. It's like Psalms, it's all this stuff. And he's like, yeah. And then I have to deal with him becoming a murderer and Bathsheba and all this stuff. He's like, seriously, it's like such hard content. Yeah. So we just announced.
Well, you're glass half full, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, no, he said that. He's like, I don't know how. Yeah. And I was like, oh, you'll be fine. And he did. He did a great job.
Yeah.
And so now we're in the midst. We just announced our next brand new show coming to the stage is Joshua. And he's producing this one.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, Joshua, it's so great. Like, it's the children of Israel coming out of the wilderness and all this sort of stuff. And he goes, yeah, and everybody dies at the end.
Yeah.
I was like, great.
Wow, you're a Debbie Downer, bro.
No, but it is true. Like, he is, it is like this, how do we, like, the walls of Jericho come down, which is a moment of victory, but it's also another moment of loss. And he's like, how, it's so much seeking the Lord and conversation around how do we do this well and honor the story, but not scare the children.
Yeah. Well, I would love to see how you guys do that, like, just from a production standpoint. That's got to be impressive.
I've watched some of the demos. It's pretty cool.
Is it really?
Oh,
That's
my word.
good.
Yeah.
When
it's
is that
going to be
gonna
pretty
be?
spectacular? Next March, 2026.
Next March. What is going to be?
Maybe that's your big stage debut.
Oh, I love it!
Oh, no.
Because in February, the premiere of I Can Only Imagine, the story of Gus Sound
Yes.
Mixer 1 comes
It's
out.
not the story of Gus.
It's just in parentheses.
You literally are on there for 1 second, and then they pass by you.
More than that. But anyway, and so, like, what's
It's
going to
just
be...
furthering your career. That's
Thank
what,
you.
Just come join us.
What's
You're
going to
gonna
be
eat
in
your
Branson?
words.
I know. What's going to be in Branson during Christmas this year?
Noah runs all the way till
No,
the
it
end
is
of
not.
this year.
Does it really? I'm going to be in Branson during Christmas.
So in Branson, it's David. Noah's in Lancaster, but David's great.
I'm going to enjoy David in Branson during Christmas.
I saw it. It's really good.
Yeah. So
To be completely honest,
Yeah.
David's my favorite show we've
Is it
produced.
really? Okay, well that's good. 'Cause
I love it.
I'm going to hit you up because I'm going to be there in December.
Okay.
We have my daughter's getting married, and so
Oh, congratulations.
thank you. Her family and our family are all going to be in Branson doing like a joint Christmas,
That's
and
so
I would
fun.
love for them to see this because I've tried to explain it and describe it and how
Yeah.
amazing it is, and so I would love for them to see
Okay,
this.
we can hook you up.
Love it. So
know where to
David,
find
it
me.
is. Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I'll find.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
no.
don't be surprised if
Yeah.
a random man finds himself up on stage and you're
No.
like, oh, that's Wally.
Katie had my number from the first hour and a half of meeting
I
her.
sure did.
She knew
in that diner.
Yes, in the diner where she had a friend walk up to her, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, hey!" And I just pretended to know her friend. I had no idea who this was, and
But Katie was there and you knew
yeah,
Katie.
yeah.
Right. So
And-
this friend walks by and texts me, and she goes, "I'm so sorry. I don't know who that was." Can you tell me?" I'm like, "You do not know him.
You don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't want to know him." Yeah.
I'm an hour and a half into knowing this poor lady, and I'm just messing with her friends.
Wow.
It was actually really funny.
Oh my
To be
goodness.
fair.
Okay, so now, you're bringing Noah back. Huge story, massive set. It's impressive. You're gonna have the live animals there as
We
well.
sure are.
Okay, now what does that look like? Because that's a big part of the story.
Yeah.
It's like, and you guys aren't afraid to have animals walk down the aisles. Do you have crocodiles?
No, we do not. So on stage,
Yeah.
we have over 100 animatronic animals.
Do you
Because
really?
we can't have hippos and crocodiles
Sure.
and giraffes and things like that. And then we have 100 live animals.
That's awesome.
And it is like a spectacular combination.
That's
it's really
awesome.
cool. When we're filming that week, we have to have a camera and animal integration day so that the animals can get used to the cameras
Oh, that's
being around and it
fascinating.
doesn't scare them. It's
Yeah.
adorable. It's like, hello, we have live skunks. They walk into the ark by
nice.
themselves.
Nice. That's got to be a joke with that, I'm
Yeah.
assuming. Yeah,
We
yeah.
will have lots of jokes, but
Yeah.
they're
Raccoons.
real.
I want a
We do
raccoon.
not have raccoons, but I want a raccoon too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really cute.
Yeah,
they would be
are.
good. Do you guys use any exotic animals in it? Because some of them got saved. The platypus. I mean,
Sure.
Unless
It's
that was
true.
just some weird Noah experiments going on.
I don't know if we
On
have.
the
We don't
ark?
have live ones. I don't
Okay.
know if animatronic. If we have the
Yeah.
platypuses represented.
funny.
I'll have to go back and check. Now I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
like it's me exploring the ark. They're like, what's Katie doing?
Yeah.
Wally wants to know.
I
if
need
there are
platypuses.
on this ark.
Well, with the release of Phineas and Ferb and Perry the Platypus.
Yeah, there you go.
You got something there.
We
You
have
got
an
a joke there.
opportunity.
That's fantastic. Do you guys ever, when you're going to bring back a show, though, like Noah, because you said it's the 30th anniversary of it.
Yeah.
So you're going to bring it back. Do you go back and look at all the scripting again and go, maybe, because you always learn something from
Right.
everything you do. Do you like update it, modernize it a little bit, maybe change some of the jokes out?
We sure do, actually. And jokes was actually a big one. There's a lot more humor in Noah this time around than there was 30 years ago.
One day I want to write with you guys because I would love to write jokes about Bible stuff because I do parody songs and it's about faith stuff. I would love to write Bible jokes someday.
It's really fun. And
Yeah.
I mean, Betty said this earlier, but it is fun to not just have people sit in the theater and like be inspired and be wowed. That stuff is really cool. But I do love when I walk in and they're laughing. Like,
Yeah.
it's just this moment of like, this life is crazy. It's weird. We have so much stuff happening. The Bible, to your point, has like, when you really read it, it's a little odd at parts, you know?
Yeah.
And so like, let's laugh. Like, I think God has a bigger sense of humor than we give him credit for. But we, for Noah specifically, we revamped the whole thing. We reorchestrated the entire show.
Oh, cool.
We added like 4 to 5 new songs in, I think.
Nice.
The whole of Act 1 was totally re-scripted, and a lot of Act 2 was. So
Really?
It's very, very refreshed from 30 years ago.
So if like you were like, let's say a grandparent that saw it 30
Yeah.
years ago, you can go back and see it with fresh eyes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or glaucoma, fresh
Yeah.
eyes.
and some glasses.
See, I'm writing jokes still.
Already. Waka, waka, waka.
So good. Now, this is perfect timing, though, for you guys with all the stuff going on in Turkey. They think that they have found they've always theorized that the resting place of the ark was in Turkey and modern day Turkey. And so, like, now there's been all this erosion and stuff, and they have these satellites that are looking down into it, and they feel that this is it, and that there's a large structure. It fits the dimensions inside of it, and like they can like do ground penetrating radar, and they think that there's like timber and everything inside. Have you watched these stories?
I have seen clips of it. I haven't
Yeah.
watched any of the extensive coverage, but yes, we did that intentionally. We planned everything around
Ingenious.
knowing. Yeah. We
Ingenious.
just
I'm gonna look it up.
part of our-
Their marketing is so good. Like,
No, they have so much money.
yeah. But no, I mean, here's
Yeah.
the thing about it, though, in all seriousness, is you guys release it, because I do believe God works in different ways, you know, and ways that we don't see or plan.
Right.
Like your marketing team couldn't have gone, hey, let's try and unearth the ark for this year. You know,
New strategy, guys.
yeah, we've never been allowed. No one's ever been allowed to search for it.
Right.
You know, and so, but all of a sudden, here it is in mainstream media. This story about the ark kind of starting to maybe come to life, and that makes people curious. And so then, if all of a sudden they get hit with this stage production of Noah, like you're like, man, that's like things working together.
Yeah, and it honestly, it feels like it happens that way so many times. Like and it's where we always say, like we cannot take credit for these stories. We get to tell them, but it
Right.
really is his story that continues to unfold in our lives today. Like when we set out to produce a show, it's 4 years before it comes to stage. And so we had produced Queen Esther 4 years before 2020, and that's when it premiered. And it was a story of a woman being taken from her people, being isolated behind walls that she couldn't get out of. She was taken to this palace. And this whole story unfolding of knowing she was called for such a time as this, and that year being such a hard year, it became that like the songs throughout the show are songs of loneliness and yearning for your people. And we were all so isolated at the time. And we were all like astounded because we couldn't have planned that if we tried. And even last year, Daniel being on stage in the midst of all of the political unrest, not just in our country, but in the world at large, and how the whole message of the show is there is a king and a kingdom, and it is the king of all kings and the kingdom of all kingdoms. And that's where we put our trust, not in the kingdoms of this world, not in who's president or not president. Those things matter, but it's not the ultimate. And again, we did not set out to produce Daniel and go, oh, it's an election year. There will be a lot of like political unrest. Like we don't do that. And it was just, there was so many, we were getting letters from people that were like, I was feeling so much anxiety around the country we're living in. And I went and saw Daniel and had this like fresh reminder of this is not my home. Like this is a temporary home, and there is a kingdom and a king that I'm serving. It was just so cool. We didn't plan that.
Right.
There's no way we planned that.
Right.
Well, I love, too, the fact that you guys stay true to the story, because there's a tendency to be like, okay, we need to be relevant to this day and age, and we need to be politically correct, and we got to do all these things so that people will come to Jesus.
Yeah.
And that the thing is like Jesus never asked us to do that. You know, he stay true to the story, because the story is enough. Like if Disney's taught us nothing lately.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Like they just keep like, fortunately they stepped in it for so many years, and now they're finally pulling back off of that, and they're getting back to story and not agenda, you know, and not politics. Because they realize, well, we're losing money,
right?
You know, and so that's the thing for you that's refreshing. It's like you guys get to tell great stories because they are, and they've been stories for thousands and thousands of years that connect with people, and you're being entrusted with that, and you just have to stay true to that.
Right. And our hope is that Sight and Sound becomes this bubble for 2.5 hours that you get to just kind of let the rest of the world melt away for 2.5 hours. So when we're writing our shows, we do care a lot about the message that shines from that stage. But we are not going in there with an agenda to push something. Like we had people outright ask us, like, did you intentionally put Daniel on stage because you knew it was going to be a political year? We were like, no, it was like as far from our minds as we possibly could have. And that's not the point of the show. But truth is truth, right? And so when we're retelling these stories, the hope is that people kind of forget what's happening on the outside, and they get to be transported back in time, and yes, laugh, and yes, be inspired in all of these things, but above all, hopefully, walk out with this sense of hope that we are a part of a much bigger story that's unfolding.
Absolutely.
And we have a king that's worth trusting in, right?
And that's where your whole family started, with your grandfather all those years ago wanting to share the gospel in creative ways, and that's what Sight and Sound is continuing to do today, and do it with excellence. That's the big thing. Like there's so many like bad Christian movies, none that I've been in, but like so many bad Christian movies or things that get it wrong, and I love that you guys take the time, the attention, and you get it right. Like you got to see David, and you got to see, and you're not even like necessarily a Broadway person, and I am. Like I was floored by it.
But it was just so awesome. It was if my expectation was 7, it was at least walking out of there with a 15. Like it was it was
you guys are so
good.
kind.
Yeah, it was so
it's great.
Good. Yeah.
And so that's the thing. That's why I can highly recommend, if you get a chance to see it live in a theater in Lancaster or in Branson, for sure do that, because that's the best way to see it, for sure. When you shoot something, it's a little different. It doesn't always capture the scope or the majesty, but the trade-off is you get to see close-up things that you don't get to see when you're in the nosebleed seats, you know? And so both have a great purpose, and not everyone can travel to get there and see the show. And so I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And Katie, we appreciate you being on with us, indulging our childishness when we were playing our game earlier.
Not mine, yours.
And putting me in your next production. So thank you. We have it there. That's a verbal contract. It's perfect.
You're welcome. It's so fun to be here. I appreciate you guys tons.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the Compassion banner at wayfm.com.